Hey, sports card fans, it's John Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. This is the third year that I've done a set of videos showing off my top 50 most valuable vintage baseball cards in my collection. Now, I don't do these to showboat. There are so many other vintage baseball card collections out there that absolutely dwarf mine. But I enjoy doing these videos for two main reasons. One, it gives me a chance to look up the price of some of my cards and see what they are worth. I don't buy and sell cards. Once I own a card, it goes into my collection, so I'm not really worried whether the price of the card goes up or down. Now, of course, it would be nice if all of my cards go up in value every year, but I realize that's not always the case. There'll be some cards that go down in value based on when I purchase them and what the current market is for those cards. But it gives me an idea of what some of my cards are worth. The second reason why I like doing these is just like you, I purchase cards throughout the year and don't always get a chance to take a step back and appreciate how my collection has grown from the previous year. Now, I've only been really collecting vintage baseball cards since the middle of 2020, and it's pretty amazing how my collection has grown in that time. So it's nice to, like I said, take a step back and appreciate, for me, how my collection has grown. Now, I'm going to start off this video by talking about the cards that dropped off this year's list that were on last year's list. And then I'm going to go over some of the changes in the top 50. And then I'm going to get into the cards. Now, this video is going to be showing cards 50 through 26. And then later this week, I'll do a second video in which I'll show off cards number 25 all the way to number 1. Okay, there were 9 cards that dropped off my top 50 list from last year. The first one was my 1962 Topps Yastrzemski in a PSA 6, which was number 50. Then my 1969 Topps Yastrzemski in a PSA 7, which was number 49. Then my 1964 Topps Hank Aaron in a PSA 4, which was number 48. My 1967 Topps Hank Aaron in a PSA 5 was number 47. My 1952 Topps Bob Feller in a PSA 2 was number 45. My 1965 Topps Steve Carlton rookie card in a PSA 4 was number 44. And my 1968 Topps Hank Aaron in a PSA 6 was number 43. My 1963 Topps Yastrzemski in a PSA 7 was number 41. And finally, my 1966 Topps Mickey Mantle in a BVG 3 was number 40. Now, in terms of the changes in the top 50 list from last year, there were 9 new cards that made the list. Of course, I had 9 drop out, so there were 9 new cards to the top 50 list. Last year, there were 10 new cards to the top 50. There were 10 cards whose values stayed the same, 9 of which are BVG graded cards. Now, last year, there were only 3 cards that stayed the same in terms of its value. And this is one of the reasons why I want to switch all my BVG graded cards over to PSA, not only for consistency within my collection, but because a lot of these BVG graded cards that I have, there are not a lot of sales. So a lot of those 9 that did not change in value, that's because a copy in the grade that I have, there was no sale of those BVG graded cards in the last year. And as we know, if it's graded in PSA or SGC, there are countless sales throughout the year of various grades of some of these cards. Now, 18 cards went up in value. Last year, only 9 cards in my top 50 went up in value. This year, 13 cards went down in value. Last year, 28 of my cards went down in value. Okay, before I start showing off cards number 50 through 26, I want to mention that I ordered these based on the current VCP average price for that card in the grade that I have it. Rather than go off the most recent sale, I figured a conservative estimate for the value would be the average VCP price. As you know, with vintage cards, eye appeal plays a big part in the range of sale prices for a particular card. Ones with really nice eye appeal for that grade may sell on the higher range of prices, and those that may not have as nice of an eye appeal for the grade may sell on the lower end of the range. So to be conservative, I went with the current VCP average price for every card on this list with the exception of one, and when I get to that one card, I will explain the value that I used for that one. And all of these prices were based on the current VCP average price as of December 12th. All right, let's get to card number 50, and that is my 1958 Topps Ted Williams. If you see the name there up top in red, that means it is a new card to my top 50. Really love this 58 design. And Ted Williams there, this is his last playing days card. My copy is in a PSA 3. It fit my budget at the time. Typically, I look for at least maybe PSA 4 copies because that generally means there are no creases in the card. This one does have a little bit of a crease, but looking at it like this, you probably can't tell where it is. And that is just the type of card that I am looking for. So here is the back. Now, the current VCP average price for this PSA 3 is $143. And of course, there's no change from last year because it is new to my top 50 list. All right, at number 49, I have this 1959 Topps Hank Aaron. Love that image of him there, the overall 59 Topps design. Now, my copy is in a PSA 4. Here is the back of the card. Very nice as well, nice and clean. Again, these PSA 4s just, to me, look so sharp when I can find them nice and centered. Usually that means there's just some issues with the corners. The current VCP average price for this is $144. Last year, this was valued at $152, so it went down by $8. And last year, this was card number 42 on my list, so it's fallen 7 spots to number 49. All right, at number 48 is my 78 Topps Nolan Ryan. Really love this card. As you know, the 78 Topps set and design is probably my favorite in terms of vintage cards, only because it just has the sentimental value of the first year that I started collecting cards. Here is the back, really nice clean back as well, nicely centered. Really happy I bought this early on when I started building my vintage collection, because in this PSA 8, the current VCP average price is $157. I'm not sure when I first started off building my vintage collection, I probably wouldn't have spent what it's obviously worth now. I think I may have paid maybe around $50 for it, probably sometime in late 2020. I think I didn't look it up, but I've had this for a few years now. Now, last year, it was valued at $170, so it's gone down by about $13. And last year, this was card number 37 on my list, so it has dropped 11 spots on my top 50 list, but still love this Nolan Ryan card. All right, at number 47 is my 1952 Bowman Warren Spahn. This was one of the cards. There may be some others on this top 50 list, but I know specifically this is a card that I owned maybe about 15 years ago or so that I ended up selling. I mentioned that I don't buy and sell a lot of cards. Usually when I buy it, they stay in my collection, but I did sell some vintage cards about 15 years ago, and every single one that I sold, I regretted, and my goal is to eventually get all of those cards back in my collection, and I probably have maybe not quite 75% of them back in my collection, but I'm working on it, and this was one of them. I just love this image here of Warren Spahn. You'll see quite a few Warren Spahn cards on this first video here. This copy here is in a PSA 4. Love the centering on it. Here is the back. Really nice as well. All right, the current VCP average price for this PSA 4 is $160. Last year it was $155, so went up $5. But it was card number 39 on my list last year, and it's number 47 this year, so it's dropped 8 spots. All right, on to card number 46. I mentioned you'll see some Warren Spahn cards. This is my 51 Bowman Warren Spahn. There we go. Another nicely centered copy. Love that image of him. It's used in a few of his Bowman cards. Here is the back. I've done pretty good this year in building my Warren Spahn run. Not they're completed yet. There's a couple big cards. The 49 Leaf is the big one on his PSA registry. But I'm pretty close to filling in some of the gaps of his other Playing Days cards. This copy here is in a PSA 4, and the current VCP price is $162. Now, last year was $186, so it's dropped about $24, and it was number 34 on my list and is now number 46, so it's dropped 12 spots on my top 50, but I still love this 51 Bowman Warren Spahn. All right, on to number 45, and guess what? It's another Warren Spahn card, my 53 Bowman Color. Now this one is a little off center, but I don't mind, because for me, and this has been brought up on other people's videos as well, in terms of the eye appeal, or in terms of flaws in a card. And to me, if I look at a card and the first thing I notice is the off centering, then it's probably not suited for my collection. But here, the first thing that my eye goes to is his face, his uniform there, just the bright colors, and the fact that it's a little bit off center, left to right, maybe even technically top to bottom, does not bother me at all, because I don't notice the border on this card. I just noticed that great image of Warren Spahn. This one's in a PSA 4. Here's the back. Really nice back. And the current VCP average price for this PSA 4 is $168. Last year it was $181, so it's gone down $13. And last year this was card number 35 on my list, and so it's dropped 10 spots to number 45. All right, at number 44 is my 1973 Topps Mike Schmidt rookie card. Finally was able to add this to my collection at this year's National. For whatever reason, I just wasn't able to pull the trigger, didn't want to pull the trigger on certain cards. It was either the centering or the price, and so happy that I finally picked one up at the National. This one's in a PSA 5. what really sold me on this card wasn't just the centering on the front, but the centering on the back. You have some 73 cards in your collection, you know that you may get a card that's dead center on the front, but the back may be severely off center. And when I saw, it's not perfect, but when I saw the overall centering on the back of this card combined with the front, I was sold and got it for a really nice price. Now, the current VCP average price is $178, and of course, this is new to my top 50 list. All right, at number 43 is, yes, another Warren Spahn. And it's another national pickup. This was, I think, the last Bowman card that I needed for my Warren Spahn run. Same image, of course, used in his 1951 Bowman card, and technically the same image in his 49 Bowman card. But just love the size of these 1950 Bowman cards. I don't know. There's just something about the size that I really like, and how they're able to just cram all that wonderful artwork in such a small card. This copy here is a PSA 4.5. The current value, the average VCP price for a 4.5 is $179. Here's the back of the card. Fairly clean. There's a little bit of a stain there on the back, but overall presents really nice. So very happy to finally add that 50 Bowman. This is another one that I was struggling to find a good copy for at a reasonable price, and I've got a good deal at the National on this one. All right, on to card number 42. It's my 1965 Topps World Series Game 3, Mantle's clutch home run. Now this one's in a BVG 8. Pretty sharp corners, overall well centered. It's not a great image of Mantle. You can't quite make him out. It's sort of an artist's rendition. It's not an actual photograph there, which sort of makes it hard to recognize that that's Mickey Mantle, other than him swinging left-handed, although he was a switch hitter. Here is the back of the card. It's Game 3 of the 64 World Series. And, of course, that is, if you notice somewhere here, I think, for St. Louis. See, I always thought it was Bob Gibson pitching, because it looks like it. But this says it was Schultz as the pitcher, and also Simmons, I guess. But to me, I mean, I don't know. That almost looks like Bob Gibson, but I guess it wasn't. So the current VCP average price of this card here, $180. And guess what? Last year it was also valued at $180 because a BVG 8 copy of this card did not sell at all in 2024, or since the last video I did last year. So it's sort of hard to tell the value of this when no BVG copies have sold in a year. I'm sure there have been plenty of PSA and SGC copies of this card selling, maybe even in an 8 grade, but I don't know. So for this list, I am going with the current VCP average price, and for a BVG 8, it's remained at $180. Now, last year, this was card number 36 and has dropped 6 spots to number 42. All right, at number 41 is another BVG graded card that I have in my collection. It's the 1958 Topps Mickey Mantle All-Star card. Really love that red background with the stars and the yellow. Now this copy isn't as bold in terms of the red as maybe I would have liked. This was a card I picked up at my local card shop along with all these other BVG graded cards. These were ones that I bought ungraded at my LCS years ago. and for whatever reason decided to send them into BBG rather than PSA. But the current value of this in a BBG 5 is $180. I'll give you a look at the back of the card here. And last year it was valued at $255. So this is a BBG graded copy that has had some sales in 2024. And of course, the last one, well, down $75 from the from last year's list. And last year, this was actually card number 22 on my top 50, and it's dropped 19 spots to number 41. All right, let's get to card number 40. And it is another BBG graded card. It's my 1960 Topps Stan Musial. This one happens to be in a BBG 7, but just love that image of Stan Musial. The whole 1960 Topps design, I love the multiple colors for the name, that second image there, that black and white image. Really nice centering on this card. Really like it. Here's the back. Really nice as well. So slowly building my Stan Musial collection. This one has a current VCP average price of $186, and one of the few BVG cards that has gone up. Last year it was $137, so it's gone up $49 from last year, and actually has moved up a little bit. This was card number 46 on my list last year, and it's moved up 6 spots to number 40. All right. So let's get to number 39. And it is my 1957 Topps Willie Mays. This has a great centering. The only thing is it has a little bit of a crease. Now, it did receive a BVG 4, but the crease is really, really hard to find. It's not right there. That's just some plastic. That's not a crease in the card there. But love this image of Willie Mays, the nice simplistic design of the 1957 Topps set. Here's the back of the card. Really nice as well. I think this is my oldest Willie Mays card in my collection. It has a current VCP price of $187. Last year it was $166, which has gone up $21 from last year, but it has dropped 1 spot. Last year it was card number 38, and this year it is card number 39. All right, at number 38 is my 1955 Topps Harmon Killebrew rookie card. This one happens to be in a PSA 3.5. As far as I can tell, no creases in it. It's a little off-centered, but with some of these 55s and even the 56, these horizontal designs, cards that have, some lighter color in the background, in this case the yellow, it sort of blends into the border, so you don't notice maybe a little bit of off centering there, but overall nice clean image there of a very young Harmon Killebrew. Here is the back of the card. So this one has a current VCP price of $194. Last year, though, a PSA 3.5, the average price was $247. So it's pretty amazing that Harmon Killebrew rookie card, at least in this grade here, has gone down $53 from last year and has actually fallen 15 spots on my top 50 list. It was card number 23, but is now card number 38. All right, let's keep this moving here. At number 37 is my 1980 Topps Rickey Henderson rookie card. And I remember when I bought this, this was a fairly large purchase for me at the time, but everyone said if you're going to buy a Rickey Henderson rookie card, you want to find one in a PSA 8. There's no way I could afford a 9. Still can't afford a 9. Those go for, I want to say $2,000-$3,000 at least. So a PSA 8 was reasonable for me. I had to wait a little bit till I could afford it, but so glad I did. And even in PSA 8s, took me a while to find one without any of those, fish eyes or ink marks in the A's banner there and the outfield at the top. Sometimes there were even some little fish eyes or print marks in this section here. So I think I found a really, really nice, clean copy here for a PSA 8. Here's the back of the card. Classic Rickey Henderson rookie card. Now, this currently has a VCP average price of $205. It's gone down actually from last year. Last year was $221, so it's fallen $16 and has fallen 7 spots on my top 50 list. It was number 30 last year and is number 37 this year. At number 36, another Stan Musial, my 53 Bowman Stan Musial. This is another example like the 53 Warren Spahn. It's clearly off center, top to bottom. But again, my main focus is that smile of Stan Musial, the shot there in the dugout with his arms crossed there in the uniform. Just love that image there of Stan Musial, and of course the 53 Bowman color set. It's just a beautiful set. Here is the back of this one. So this one has a current VCP price of a BVG 4.5 of $215. Last year was $196, so it's gone up 19 bucks, but has dropped 4 spots on my top 50 list. It was number 32 last year and is number 36 this year. All right, at number 35 is my 1965 Topps Pete Rose card. Try to get this to focus here. There's so much plastic with these BVG holders. Another reason why I want to convert these over to PSA. Just check out how thick those slabs are. Good Lord. So much plastic between the card and your hands. But anyway, I digress. Great image there of a Pete Rose on that great 65 Topps design. Really like that. Here is the back of the card. This one has a current VCP average price of $225, and there's been no change since last year because I don't think a BVG 6 copy of this Pete Rose card has sold within the last year. But even though it has not changed in price, it has dropped 7 spots on my list. It was number 28 and is now number 35. All right, moving along to number 34 is my 1956 Topps Hank Aaron in a grayback. This one I picked up, I want to say at the 2000 National. Is that the one that they skipped? It was either 2019 or 2020. It was the one in Chicago, and wanted to start a Hank Aaron run and picked up this 56 Topps in the grayback. Love the centering on it. PSA 3, there's a little bit more issues, but in terms of the affordability, it was one I was able to afford for my collection. And the back, for all I know, there looks like there's maybe a little staining there that could have impacted the grade, but really that doesn't bother me at all. Love this card of Hank Aaron. Now, the current VCP average price for this PSA 3 is $225. It's gone down a little bit. It was $239 last year, about a drop of $14, and it has dropped 9 spots on my top 50. It was number 25 last year, and now is number 34. All right, at number 33, this one was a Strongsville purchase earlier this year. Saw this nice 1957 Topps Ted Williams for sale. Again, was one of those things that it fit my budget because it is a PSA 4 copy. Really nice and sharp. I don't think there's a single crease on the card. Little off center, which is probably why it got a 4 and maybe some corner issues. The back is really nice, especially for card number 1 in the set. Great shot of Ted Williams. All right, the current VCP average price is $227, so it's good for number 33 on my list. At number 32, getting to the last stack here, so hopefully this video won't take too much longer. At number 32 is my 1975 Topps George Brett. I picked this up in a 7. At the time, PSA 8s were just a little bit too high for my budget, but just fell in love with the bright, bold colors on this. I mean, that purple is nice and solid, as well as the green. Fairly well centered, but great rookie card there of George Brett. Here is the back. Very nice as well. So very happy with that copy there. The current VCP average price for this PSA 7 is $232. Last year was $268, so this card has dropped $36 in price since last year, but you know, that doesn't really bother me. But it's fallen 12 spots on my top 50 list. This was card number 20 last year. Again, just goes to show how much my collection has grown to where this George Brett rookie card is now number 32 on my list, where last year it was number 20. All right, number 31 is my 1960 Topps Yastrzemski rookie card. And if I can get this focused here. There we go. One of the key things that I wanted to find with his rookie card is to get one with not a lot of ink blotches. It just seems with this black section here that you just get, and with his name, for whatever reason during the printing process, you sometimes get some streaks. Now there's some very, very, very faint ink marks there, but overall, just a really sharp, clean copy here of his rookie card. It's in a PSA 5. There's the back. And of course, in 2024, I was able to complete my Yastrzemski playing days run. Very happy that I was able to do that. The current VCP price for this PSA 5 is $238. It's actually gone up $15 from last year. It was $223, but it has fallen 2 spots on my top 50. It was number 29, and now it is card number 31. All right, at number 30, it's a card that I just absolutely love. It's my 1950 Bowman Yogi Berra. And what's really nice about this, you notice it's in a PSA 2, but check out that centering. And if you just look at the card normally, you may struggle to determine, why is this a PSA 2? Yeah, there's some corner issues, but overall extremely sharp. Well, if you tilt it on an angle, which I'm not going to do here, you'll see the card has some, 2 minor surface creases on the front that don't extend to the back. Here's the back of the card. really sharp as well. But this is one of those technical grade of a 2. But when you're just looking straight at this card, it definitely has a much higher eye appeal than a PSA 2. But the current VCP price for a PSA 2 is $246. It's up $39 from last year. It was $207. And it has gone up one spot on my top 50 list. It was card number 31 last year and is card number 30. All right, just a few more to go here. At number 29 is my 1967 Topps Mickey Mantle. Really sharp looking card here. There we go, centered, or focused, I should say. The centering on this card's pretty nice. A little thing there in the corner, which I think affects the grade, maybe a little softening down there as well. But overall, great image of Mickey Mantle there on that 67 Topps design. It is a BVG 5. Here's the back of the card. Nice and clean as well. And the current VCP average price for this BVG 5 is $252. Actually went down by $31. Mickey Mantle card going down in value. Go figure. But last year was $283. Again, the fact that it's a BVG copy probably had some impact on that price, and it has fallen 12 spots on my top 50. It was number 17. Now it's all the way down to card number 29. At number 28 is my 1958 Topps Hank Aaron. This is the white name version, the more, I guess, the easier version to come by. The yellow name is the harder version to find, more expensive. Really like the overall centering, but again, what drew me to this card is, again, if you collect some 58s, you know that the background, sometimes you get a lot of, print marks, fish eyes. It's just not a solid background, but this one is really solid. Just that green background makes his portrait image there just pop. Love this Hank Aaron card. Here is the back. I love these cartoons for some of the 50s cards. They really took some time and effort with the artists and the designers to make the backs of these cards just really interesting. All right, the current VCP average price for, it's a PSA 4, for this PSA 4 is $260. It's gone up $17 from last year. It was $243, but it has dropped 4 spots on my list. This was card number 24, and now it is card number 28 on my top 50. All right, just a couple more here. At number 27 is my 1948 Bowman Warren Spahn, and this was a 23 National Pickup 2023. Yeah, it has corner issues, but that centering, almost spot on. I really love the image there. Actually, the center part of the card, no issues. It's just the corners. There's the back of it. Again, for me, a very acceptable copy. It is a PSA 3, but the price that I got for it for a PSA 3 was very, very reasonable, so was happy to pick this one up. The current VCP average price is $268. Last year, it was $290, so it has gone down $22 and has gone down 11 spots. On my top 50, it was card number 16 on my list, but this year, it only made number 27. All right, at number 26 is my 1955 Bowman Hank Aaron. This is a PSA 4. This one I bought, I think, the same year as my 1960 Yastrzemski. So I think it was the think it was the 2019 or 2020 National. I keep forgetting what year. I think it was 2021 that they didn't have it because of COVID. But anyway, love the centering on this. It's really hard sometimes to get one for this 55 Bowman based on the design to not have any chipping around the sides or edges. Really happy with this copy here. Love that image there of Hank Aaron. Here's the back of the card. All right, the current VCP average price for this PSA 4 is $274. Last year, I mean, for a PSA card, hasn't changed, $274. Now, I'm sure between last year and this year, there's been some ups and downs, but actually, the current price is the same as it was last year, but it has fallen 8 spots on my top 50 list. It was card number 18, and this year it is card number 26. Well, there's the first half of my top 50 most valuable vintage baseball cards in my collection. Would love to know your thoughts in the comments about those first 25 cards, and stay tuned for later this week when I'm going to show off my top 25 vintage baseball cards in my collection. And with that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.